Hey guys, Tepcocyclerepair. Today we're going to be doing a top end on this CRF250X. This is same for all the model 250Xs. This is from 2004 up until, I don't know when it was, 17 or something like that. This is a 2004 model. They're all the same. For all you two-stroke guys out there that are a little bit nervous, it's really not a big deal. There's not much more to it. I'm going to go through everything for you and show you what you need to know. I'm going to show you what I replace every time I do a top end on a four-stroke and what I think you should too. We'll get into it, and it's not going to be that hard, so don't sweat it, okay? But do me a favor, guys, before we get started, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and share this video. Let's get started. All right, so this bike here, like I said, it's a 2004. I don't know how many hours on it. I got it used. This is my my bike. I love this thing. I mean, I'm a two-stroke guy, but I've really been enjoying this bike and enjoying the power delivery on it. It's just a very fun bike to ride. I've been through some real technical things on it, and it doesn't give me any problems. And like I said, this thing runs good. It's in really good shape. Now, as far as hours go on this bike, I don't know. I'm going to be putting an hour meter on it, but I'm guessing it has somewhere around 100 hours or so on it. It was ridden in the street a lot, so I have no idea how many hours on, but you can see it's in really good shape. Nothing's really beat up on it. I've already put new tires on it. Did a couple things to it already. But, you know, usually you can tell wear on the seat and stuff. It's pretty low. You know, the filter, remember, we're cleaning those things out like crazy. You should be too. But the problem with this one, and I think the reason it ate up this top end is because the air filter, okay, this was not on all the way. And I have another video how to fix that. But they're really hard to get on, and I think they just gave up and let it kind of hang in there. So it was getting dirt and stuff past the filter. And that will eat up your valves and eat up your top end in no time. So make sure you keep up on that stuff. So when I did a leak down test on this, it was 15% leak down, and it was a lot of leak down past the rings, very little through the intake valves. So we're not going to touch the intake valves. They weren't out of spec or anything. They weren't loose. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a top end on it, and then I'll do another leak down test after it breaks in a little bit, and we'll see what it looks like. But we're going to go ahead and take the plastic off, which is simple. Right, we got an 8mm, 8mm, 8mm up top. We have the strap at the back of the tank. We have two 10mm here to get the seat off. I'm going to go ahead and strip that all off here. We're also going to loosen up the subframe. So I got two here. It's a 12mm, one on the other side, the pivot up here, and we're going to loosen the bracket for the carburetor, the intake manifold here. And we're just going to take that whole tail end and just swing it up a little bit and get that out of the way. But that'll give us room. But we're going to take the header off as well. Pretty simple. We're going to get this thing stripped down, and I'll show you what I'm doing. Now, as far as parts go for this, we've got a new piston in here. We got new rings, standard size. We have a head gasket and a base gasket. All right, there. I got the side cover gasket because I'm doing the timing chain as well. I have the two circlips, wrist pin, oil filter and O-ring, and the cam chain. And whenever I do a top end on these, I do a cam chain. These are cheap, about $35. It's only a little bit more work to do it. I recommend highly doing those because usually what will happen is if you do a top end and say 100 hours or 80 hours or somewhere around there, it's not going to be done then. It's not going to be worn out. But if you wait another 50 to 80 hours to do it, it's going to be worn out then, and it's going to cause your bike to have to start difficult. And you want to keep this fresh because this is what's timing your valves and making sure they open and close at the right time. So just put a new one in there. I'll show you how to do it. It's simple. All right, so now that we got the coolant out, we got the coolant lines detached. We have the subframe kind of jacked up out of the way with the carburetor disconnected. I got a piece of wood holding it back in here just to hold it from, drop it down and keeping it out of the way. Now we got to start taking the cylinder and everything off. So what we're going to do here is go ahead and pull the spark plug. We're going to take the vent line off. We're going to take the two 10 millimeters that hold the valve cover on. We're going to get that out of the way. I'm going to take some compressed air and blow all this up real good. It's all clean. It's not very loose dirt or anything like that on here. So, but try to get it as clean as you can. I've already wiped it all down, and this is just kind of residue on there. And while I'm here, I'm also going to take off the head mounting bracket right here. Bolts in down there, and then two up here. We're going to get this out of the way so we can get the whole head up. All right, let's pull the valve cover off. All right, when you get in here, you want to just take a good look, inspect everything when you start getting into here. We're going to start taking off the caps and the cam, get that out of the way. All right, so we're going to put the engine at top dead center before we start taking anything off. Take this cap off here. This is a 10 millimeter Allen. And inside there is what you're going to rotate the engine with. And that is a 8. That's top dead center there. You can see the arrow there and the dot in there on that tooth. And all the cam lobes are towards the back. We're at top dead center of the compression stroke. It's not really going to matter because we're taking everything off, but it's nice to just have everything set here. And looking at the timing marks, we have one line there, and we have another line right there. See it? Okay. All right, guys, and this is why I changed the timing chain. If you look at the arrow marks, there's that one, and then that one is a little bit below. So it's already starting to stretch the chain. And this is the side that's going to be pulled tight. And the opposite side here, the rear with the tensioners, is going to pull it. It's going to pull it in this direction here. So it's always going to be pulling it down here. This is going to be up. And if you start to have a worn out chain, you're going to have this arrow, this like line right there is going to be a little bit higher, and that one's going to be a little bit lower. And you can see the difference there. All right, there's that little bit, and that's why you got to change this thing every time. Every time I do a top end, I put a new cam chain in. Let's pull the side cover off. All right, so the stator is behind this, and it's attached to the side cover. So when you take it off, you're going to be pulling that whole thing off. These bolts are all the same size except for the two bottom ones. There's one right here and one right here. All the rest of them are the same size. All right, I'm going to drain the oil out of that a little bit. Just let that hang out of the way. Oil from here goes through here into the center, and then it gets pushed into the crankshaft, and that's why you need a special puller for this, and you can't just go using a regular puller. So we have a special puller for this. I'm going to show you how to use that. All right, I'm going to take this flywheel nut off. Now I'm going to use an impact to get it off, but do not use an impact to put it on. Okay, nut washer. All right, so we're using a tusk tool to get this off. With these, because they have that oil passage here, you have to use this cap on there or else you'll damage the end of this. So just screw the cap on. And now with this one here, make sure you back this all the way out because you want this to bite on as much as it can onto these threads. All right, so we got that backed out. We're going to make sure we screw this one all the way on. Okay, with that one all the way on, then we're going to use this one here. Spin this in. All right, so we're going to hold the inside one. That super loud pop is what it sounds like when it's coming off. It's scary. All right, and then everything is good, and this is just going to slide off. Now there's the key in there. Make sure you don't drop it into your oil pan or anything underneath it. So when you're pulling it off, just keep your hand underneath there. All right, and there's a little key right there. Don't lose it. A Woodruff key, and the flywheel is off. So here we have our timing chain here, and this is what we're going to be taking off and replacing. There's an 8mm right here you have to take off in order so the cam chain will drop. Let's take the cam chain tensioner off. Alright, so now that we have the chain loose, we got to go up top and take our cam off. Top, now that we have everything loose down below, we're going to go ahead and take these two 10s on this side, the 10 there, the 10 there. We're going to take the two caps off. And remember that there's the retainer clips underneath there. You check out my valve adjusting video for the CRF and you'll see what that looks like. The two clips underneath there, I'm going to get those out, and then we're going to just tilt the cam a little bit, pull the chain off, and let the chain drop. Alright, taking the caps out. When you take these caps out of here, the two 10mm, make sure you don't lose that retaining clip. That just sits in there and holds your bearings from moving, holds them in place. So make sure you don't lose that. Take both of those out. And then when you're taking the cam out, what you want to do is just this bearing right here, just slide this bearing towards the cam gear so you can kind of drop the cam gear down a little bit, pull the chain off of it, and then pull your cam out. So now you have the chain down here. What I want you to show you is that this chain here has a little guide. This guide won't let it fall off. You can, like, if you drop it, grab it, you know, if you're up top and you're just doing some valve adjustment or something and you drop this down, you can hook it and pull it back up again, and it's not going to skip any teeth because of this right here. So we're going to go ahead and take this off because we're replacing the cam chain. So we'll take this 8mm off and then just pull the chain out. Alright, chain's out. Alright, so now I'm going to take off these two small 8mm right here. Then I'm going to take the four 14mm the head nuts off in crisscross pattern. It doesn't look too bad. Not at all. Alright, we're going to take this cam chain guide out. And this cylinder looks really good. Really good. Alright, so we're going to take this one more 8mm off the bottom. And don't forget our dowel pins. We have one here. There's another one that goes here. That's with the cylinder. We have these two down here that we're going to get off and make sure we don't lose them. Still looks new. That's really good. Happy with that. No damage in there, no marks, nothing. Looks great. Crank feels solid. Alright, let's raise it up a little bit. Alright, so I took the cert clip out of there. The cert clip, always replace these. And all I used is a little pick. There's an access groove in there, like a cutout in the piston. And then you just kind of get behind it and pop it and it comes out of there. And now we have to get the wrist pin out. Don't force the wrist pin and don't hammer it against your connecting rod. Just push it through. Alright, push it through the same side and we just... Alright, so you're coming out there. Comes out nice and easy. Alright, so now we have our wrist pin. Alright, and the piston is off. Now this had 15% leak down. You see all the carbon buildup in there. That's from oil. That's just oil burning in there.